We're into the bracket here on Tuesday. It's quarterfinals time. What a time to be alive, folks. We got Mischief in Dark out of Vancouver, British Columbia, taking on Toro out of Toronto, Ontario. Theo Wan here with Clay Howlett. Ben Hubner, our producer. Clay, this is exciting because this is the 4-5 quarterfinal matchup. Either team could take it.
That's right, the 4-5 quarterfinal. What you would think, Theo, would be your closest matchup at the outset of bracket play. I'm excited, as I know both of these programs to be rather high level, both historically and so far at this tournament. They've been looking good. I got the chance to speak to some Mischief coaches on the sideline at the beginning of the game, saying this team is different than it used to be. We are really strong this year. And Toro, I know in 2019 made a big statement, making finals and then winning, I believe. So this should be exciting.
Just on this close sideline with McGee. And been told by Toro coaches that their lines will be upwind, downwind more or less, and that throw too high. Bond having to switch to the upwind side. Mischief gonna go right away, looking for He's gonna flip it for the score. Mischief gets the break to get things going.
Mischief coming down, starting with a zone look. It pays off with a quick over-the-top turnover. And Theo, they elected to go for some long shots right off the bat, which moving right to left on our field has been really difficult, but that long throw just floated perfectly right into her hands. Relatively easy offense there by Mischief to go up a break to begin the game on what we are calling today the difficult end zone, the hard side of the field.
Toro came in third in their pool here, Clay, finishing 1 and 2. Were able to win their crossover to stay alive and keep themselves in this power pool. Mischief going 2 and 1, taking down Mofo actually in Helios, winning that game on Universe if I'm not mistaken. 9-8 over Mofo, and didn't have a great game against Vortex, but they're still in the top 8 and looking to compete. Both teams are going to have a big challenge if whichever team wins, because they'll be taking on the overall #1 seed. And Clay, we've seen them so far this tournament. They look very strong. Eclipse.
That's right. Eclipse behind us, currently playing their quarterfinal against Helios. Eclipse women earlier looking very confident in the wind, but Mischief, they're just showing us the same thing. No problem moving upwind. We'll see what Toro can do.
You know, they're going to have to go upwind here. They have the strong upwind line, but that throw is blocked. And Mischief, what a start, especially if they can punch in this break right now. Ho picking up the lefty, trying to fire it forward, but just too far.
But Toro in really the hardest position right now as a handler. The zone is on there, forcing the sideline. You're going upwind. That throw is going to pop up.
And snacked down by Mischief. That's Emily Ma making a play. And the energy right now on this Mischief side, they're cheering loud, trying to get their team going here. Up the line. The second straight break, a little spike action from Lichman, and they're fired up.
Drop the mic on that goal. Mischief taking these first 2 points emphatically. To no surprise, Theo, we see an immediate timeout call by Toro. The Mischief boys on the sideline just having finished their game on this field. They now have a break before they play again in the next time slot at 4:30. They're keeping that sideline up. But, man, the energy coming off of the Mischief ladies right now is wild.
Toro going to have to find some resolve here as our coaching staff going to do some discussions. We're going to be right back and see if Toro can continue to mount a comeback. We're back here, first half action. Mischief coming out strong, 2-0 lead. Theo on here with Clayton Howland, and Clay, we talked about this. The 3-0 lead is always the most devastating thing. It can be, right? It could be 2-1 or 3-0. Mischief trying to make that happen right now. And what have they been doing to really cause some problems for this Toro squad?
Oh, certainly the tight zone. I mean, we've seen this high pressure, close cup from the Mischief team so far, really putting a lot of pressure on every single option. And look, we see this momentum. The cup is set before the disc is even put up. This is what we're seeing from Mischief that's been so successful. High pressure on the throws.
Great grab, keeping things going for Toro. That's McGee. McGee now loading up, flicking it to this close sideline. For a lot of these Toro players, this is their first national tournament. Hunter getting things over to midfield, and now a big huck going up. Betty finds her target, and that's what you need if you're a Toronto fan in the audience. Shen gets her 10th goal of the tournament.
Shen with the pickup, but that throw from Betty was perfect. That huck having, I don't know, enough spin to not get taken by the wind, I suppose, but just floating down exactly where the receiver was. It had so much time to read it, but at the same time, enough velocity to make it past all the defenders. Betty's huck, one of my favorite throws to see from a player. Deserves big props for that point.
See Coach Gabe Isaac, formerly coaching Toronto's Uproar in the open system with Emma Seaborn, one of the head coaches. Another head coach who cannot be here, Vicky Shimoda. Vicky was a head coach that helped the team get first. You mentioned this already, the 2019 squad, and most of these players, if not all, not on that squad, a full new group considering the pandemic. So this is a chance for these players to make their legacy in the Toro program that's been quite successful.
That's right. And one interesting thing that we've remarked about the pandemic is that rollover that you get in our junior divisions, where players might play for a junior club for 3, 4, 5 years and become the veterans and pass down their knowledge. But thanks to the pandemic, there's almost been a reset where we have players with lots of veterancy skill-wise and experience, but have only been on the team for a little while, sometimes the same amount of time as more of the newer players. So that rebuild is happening this weekend at Nationals.
Flow floating up, and that's going to settle into the turf. So a turnover apiece, and going big huck right away. Great effort there from Kang. Sister Catherine playing on Eclipse, the top seed in this tournament.
Seeing a vertical offensive set by Toro. Vertical being super popular here on our VC showcase field.
In and out of hands of Pio Quinto. Give a short field for the Vancouver side to work with. And that throw just a little too pushed down by the wind. Castillo's going to want that one back.
It's been extremely gusty out here today. Sometimes there's nothing hindering throws. Sometimes it's super difficult to get upfield.
Good attempted grab, but Mischief going to pick up the disc right away. Flipping it over and getting the score. Mischief does get the hold that they need.
So with the goal, Rachel Guan, big hold for Mischief. The D-line did their job, not just in getting 2 breaks, but particularly getting a break upwind. Mischief meeting in the field to hear the line call. Toro coaches heading off their players at the brick mark so that everybody's on the same page. Seeing a lot of that style in our junior series here in Brampton, where most teams electing to have the team conference, if you will, so that everybody can hear the line call. Players often don't know or have never experienced how quick Ultimate can actually move, as when we play in league, we play in games without observers. Sometimes, or almost certainly, we always take too much time between points. 90 seconds between polls goes very, very quickly. So when the teams meet together, they speak together, it gives a chance for the coaches to allow their players to celebrate, but then quickly set the line, get everybody ready to go, and not be a step behind or panicking to get things going. So we've seen one break-up win from Mischief so far. Can they get another one? Get that 3-point lead that you discussed, Theo, that could be so devastating.
Toro going left to right on your screen. A couple holds trading things off right now, and I think there might be an offside call here, Clay.
That's right. Seeing number 0 there, Zihi was just right down on the disc, and she quickly put her foot down and did an about face on the offside call. Now, offside, you don't necessarily, I believe it's one warning and you don't need to recognize it. So Toro well within the rights just to tap the disc and get going, but Mischief recognizing their error, able to get the zone back on quick, looking for these high pressure situations.
Just squeezed in there to Betty, who had the big throw earlier, looking once again. Great effort, trying to find Shen. The same combo, trying to link up one more time.
Caught my breath, another great throw from Betty. I mean, that unfortunate drop, but she has those throws dialed in. Just perfect placement for her receivers right now.
Toro setting up a zone of their own, trying to put it in that coffin corner as this throw's gonna go up, and McGee tried to swat it down, missed it, and Mischief almost had a chance. Shimoda on the other way, but looks like there's a foul call a couple throws before that on that high flick from Mischief.
So, sounds as if the players have worked it out. We're starting to see some players move around. Well, perhaps not, so there is a discussion. We will let them work this out. Theo, there is a discussion happening. We've got Alan on Team Orange. We've got Sheila on Team Orange.
Our favorite team.
Yeah, the law out there, as we've begun saying today. They've been all of Team Orange, all our observers at the tournament have putting in a ton of work to help with rule clarifications. Many calls in Ultimate sometimes because an interpretation of a rule is incorrect or just not well, or a rule is not well understood. So in our junior series here, the observers taking on a passive role as they do. Really the only active thing they've been doing is in and out calls, but also doing an active role of helping these players clarify things far more than they would compared to the senior division.
Yen was trying to make a play. They weren't able to come down with that because that throw was just blading to the ground. Shimoda gonna move things for Toro, and Sheila Quintos, the observer, walking Shimoda almost right to the front cone, and indeed to the front cone. Shimoda going with a couple of fakes, flicking it forward, and believe that's inbounds. Don't think she knew that, but that is Huang, and there is a call though, before we say that. I was gonna crown it a goal.
No, that's okay. The observers didn't signal it. They actually didn't see number 11 on Mischief, Tessa Jacobi, signaling a pick call. So we'll wait to see how this resolves. It's interesting that as Team Orange did not see number 11 making that signal, that an explanation needs to be had so that everybody understands what had happened. Theo, while we have a moment, I just want to point out, look at the sideline. There's a crowd. The Toro open team, Mischief open team. Lots of players over on that sideline.
Eclipse too. I see Eclipse jerseys out there too.
Right, I see some Uproar jerseys. So we've got a very loud sideline this game. Sometimes we're even having trouble hearing what you're saying, and we're on the opposite side. So really fun to get that energy. Dead quiet right now as we listen to the observers work this out.
We need the observer mic'd up. That's what, even players. I love watching sports when they have the players mic'd up. Always fun to see what they're saying. It would be fun to hear what Alan Bagg is just talking about over there.
Yeah, that's true. Although sometimes we have our different language down there as players. It's difficult to understand what was happening with all the slang that we use. I don't know about you, but I have to really watch myself on our microphones up here, just not turning it into ultimate language and keeping things rather general.
Just gonna stay with Shimoda. We're in the double twos here for Toro. Mentioned head coach Vicky Shimoda. This is at Vicky's actually her aunt. So that's pretty cool family connection out there for this Toro side. Shimoda now. McGee goes up line. Going to go a flick across the field, and it's reeled in. It's not the same connection, but the goal coming from Shen.
It's a very important hold for Toro. Obviously needing to get those downwind points. You're down an upwind break. Getting that hold basically O-line, that is the job that you must get done. Absolutely celebrate it, but can be no question that those points are must-haves in conditions like today, where we're seeing the majority of our goals happen down on the right side of your screen.
Mischief walking back out on offense, and had a chance to speak to a couple of the coaches, Emma Young, Mika Kurhashi, Justin Pondner, the third coach. Emma was talking about how there was a little pep talk between the Eclipse women, the older sister team, if you want to call it that, with Mischief. Just giving them encouragement, knowing that they could pull this off, and want them to have that excitement. Chance to make semis. You're in the quarters.
You're in the quarters. I mean, that top 4 medal contention, a big dream for a lot of players, especially when you not necessarily have ever been in bracket play whatsoever, or perhaps you've been here lots of times and it's always just out of reach. So that's a big, big goal for a lot of these players.
Mischief back out on offense. Really deep horizontal stack coming, and that throw looking for Eklund, but it's going to settle into this green turf. See what this D-line can do. It's going to be the upwind squad. Grab under pressure from Craig, a captain. Moving things over here, Bala.
Unfortunate push down, I would say, from the win there. That throw having too much of an angle on it and not enough snap. So as Toro was able to work it partway up the field, give it right back to Mischief, who just uncork it.
Peary trying to get the huck, but there's a foul called on the throw.
Observer Sheila right there to clarify everything, and it sounds like there's no discussion. The players smiling and laughing with each other.
Liu, the thrower, coming from the Hamburg system, I've been told, out in Vancouver. A lot of high schools producing this talent, and I know in BC in particular, Ultimate's big in terms of the high school scene, not just in the club system. So that's where you're seeing a lot of these prospects come from there, Clay.
Yeah, the high school provincial championships, Theo, actually has 2 divisions, A and B. There could be up to 16 or 32 teams in each division.
Eklund looking for a target, but that throw does end up on the turf. We saw one looking for Peary. That was ruled back due to a foul. Bala going to jog it up.
Bella's been doing a lot of heavy lifting on this point. Her throw goes are really strong. She's always in the area. There you see her just take off up the line. She's looking for the next catch. She tries to make a play, but that just being forced to the ground too quickly.
It's back and forth action here. And Liu going to be throwing along this offensive line. That one just not the angle, particularly that she probably wanted.
Bala picking up, no real surprise.
See if Bala can get a little give and go, and then maybe in power position decide to huck it. A little bit more difficult out of static. Great grab to save things. But of course with the wind, it's going to pop up, and as coaches, going to have to talk to the throwers and adjust the release points. That's a big one.
I think just not that, certainly the release point, Theo, because we've seen a lot of those hard angles just get forced down. But I'm also noticing Toro punching it up the sideline. Fake that throw. Mischief is looking at you saying, okay, you like that throw, so you throw a big pump fake, you go back around, get the disc to the harder sideline where the wind is not going to force it out of bounds.
High stall, looking for Peary. It's ruled in by the observers. Perhaps no, there's a pick, as I see Clay signaling to me right there. I thought they were trying to signal a goal, but instead it might come back. Peary was pretty open there.
That was Bala's check, and then Bala seemed to slow down, as her check got wide open, I immediately saw her hands go up in that bicep flexing position within Ultimate. Does signal a pick. Picks are illegal in Ultimate. Perhaps not so dangerous when you might be moving at a slow speed, as we often see in basketball. But when you're at a full sprint or looking in other directions, setting a pick is extremely dangerous when players get up to their top speed. So picks outlawed in Ultimate.
Looking like this is going to be upheld and sent back to the thrower. Sent back to Rachel Guan, one of the O-line handlers for this team. Liu, the big-time thrower, as her reset. I believe this is going to come in on a decently high stall, Clay, so I expect something probably close to the end zone unless they can get a reset off to Liu.
Well, we'll have to come in at the most 6, but it's only 4 stalls.
Looking for the reset to Liu, and perhaps a miscommunication. Players running back on defense. Bala picking up and throwing it deep. Trying to make a play was on. It was hard to read just where she was going. Actually ended up short, so had to cut back for it.
Yeah, all the players making it underneath the disc before it hung and stopped its forward motion.
And Clay, before we even catch our breath, another throw goes up. It's going to be back and forth with the Hucks here looking for Kang.
Common trend we've seen with those pick-up, throw and go Hucks, Theo, is players just not waiting that extra second to give their receiver time to get downfield as they are throwing it very hard downwind. When you're throwing downwind, you actually need to wait a second because the wind will carry your throw, but players just uncorking immediately are always off target.
Bala's throw is going to pop up with the back end and taken away to the cheers of the squad, and a drop there. Going to give Toro the disc back.
Slow it down, slow it down. I can hear the coaches either saying out loud or in their heads.
In their minds, I think. Great grab to save things. Pio Quinto going to the far side of the field. It's taken away. That was tight coverage from Eklund. Liu finds Eklund coming right underneath. Great hustle from Eklund to go deep, make space. Now flip it over to Liu, but it's blocked with the left hand.
High-paced point, Theo. But just chill, slow it down, take the sure shots. An unfortunate drop there, nothing with urgency there, just an unfortunate fundamental error.
We see one of the players on the sideline, Fish, telling players to slow it down for Mischief. Liu flips it up line, and that will be ruled a goal.
Guan with her second big play of the game. A big up line cut from the break side to the open side, just burns her defender. And a big hold for Mischief so far. Mischief riding 2 breaks. We've only seen the one huge upwind break. That is, the downwind breaks are big too, but to start the game with an upwind break, that's the only thing we have seen on our left side today, when it, or I should say in this time slot for scoring.
We're trying to catch our breath here in the booth, Clay. It's a lot going back and forth. I'm sure the players and coaches are doing the same here.
Yeah, things are moving quick, and we're seeing a lot of excitement. I'm catching myself. I'm catching it in my throat a bit of the just wait. Oh no, just hold back a little bit. Both teams so willing to go for the fast break, but it's just resulting in a few fundamental errors on both squads. Just take that extra second, especially on the deep hucks. Know that the wind is going to carry that throw, so just take an extra second to air it out, which is usually fundamentally different than not playing in the wind, where you don't want to wait too long to huck.
Betty has been a big part of that 77 for Toro in white. We thank you for joining us, watching women's quarterfinal action. We got open quarterfinal action coming for you. The Toro boys will be taking on Vortex out of Vancouver. Great matchup, the 3-6 quarterfinal. Coming at you at 4:30 Eastern. It's about noontime there in Vancouver, so I'm sure they're enjoying lunch and watching this. Betty going backhand, finding her favorite target in Shen, but just bouncing off the right hand.
But once again, Toro really favoring the forced sideline and getting it up in that same lane where the wind's pushing it. I mean, Betty's hucks have been so good. Eventually, the wind was going to catch one of them and push it out of bounds.
Around throw to Mischief players there. Neither will come up with it. Tan is now going to mark up. Hunter, the lefty, flipping it over. Finding the score for Shen. Shen's third goal of the game, scoring all the points for Toro so far. Hunter getting on the board with an assist. And Toro does get the hold.
See Mischief players immediately putting hands up, making eye contact with each other. Trying to realize, hey, we just got scored on D-line. It was a hold. It's downwind. Everybody lift up your heads. Make eye contact with your teammates. No problem yet. We have a lead. We've got a big advantage right now being up 2 breaks. So that Mischief squad doing a great job keeping each other in it right now.
When you have players that are excited to be here, their teammates can feel it, and the sidelines can feel it too, the open team especially. As we get a look on the sideline, I want to give a quick shout out to number 25, Joyce Dye. Was told before the game that actually tore ACL in one of the first tournaments of the year and has been really good at keeping the energy up for the squad and just being a good sideline presence. So Joyce out here for this Mischief side, helping them out. Wearing the alternate color jersey, which I like, the white jersey.
Such a difficult job to do. It takes a lot of energy and discipline to be that sideline presence when you have the fear of missing out, the FOMO, not being able to play. So props to that.
Liu has a short field to work with, and Peary's being backed underneath, and they're just going to send it right to her. And I love the look because her defender was very under, and I think Toro might have to adjust with the downwind side that Mischief's starting on.
And the Mischief thrower there actually clapped the disc to signal that that was going to be the play. The throw just popping up real high in the air. So the execution not quite there.
Some bumping there from you.
Yeah.
On Craig, the intended receiver, and I did see a foul there, I think, Clay. I'm not sure if you're going to agree with me.
Yeah, some momentum there, so reaching out to make the catch. And if an offensive player running in front of the defense does slow down, it can be difficult for the defense to also halt their momentum and not crash into them, but that is the responsibility of the defense. Not all fouls are on purpose, and with both players looking at the disc and sometimes not each other, defenders can run quite quickly into the backs of their mark.
Craig's going to retain the disc, finds Bala on a little dump throw. Bala now going around, really doing a great job of stepping out and making some plays. Toro working it to the break side here.
Mischief unable to move the disc around there. I think a big hand block by Toro right there. Excuse me, I got that backwards. Thank you.
Guan with the disc. For Mischief, the team in dark has Peary going deep once again. Peary just one little step cut to juke out her defender and beating Merrill to the spot.
Energy right now, Theo, I've been talking about it so much. I think it's so much more important in the junior series. The energy by Mischief is currently off the chain. Toro looking a little disappointed at the ground, very quiet. Toro coaching staff calling a timeout. They do get 2 per half.
Stay tuned for the conclusion of this first half and throughout this game. We got more action coming for you, but we'll be back. first half action here. Quarterfinals. We're getting closer to crowning a champion, the first one since 2019. Theo won here with Clayton Howlett. Mischief in dark out of Vancouver with the lead, up 5-3. Toro in white. And the story of the game so far has been the strong, deep receiving from two players in particular, one from each side.
That's right. We've seen a lot of huck choices by both teams, but more often than not, Mischief coming down with it. They'll set a zone. We've seen this from them the whole game so far.
Yeah, this might negate the top deep receiver that we want to talk about for Toro right now, and Cindy Shen. The zone might provide some trouble for that. Betty, good concentration. And Betty gonna air it out. High throw. Finds her target. Who else but Shen right now, who has all the goals for this Toronto side.
Betty Shen connection continues to be carrying Toro right now, keeping them within one. And I shouldn't say carrying, Theo. We always forget with our statistics at Ultimate, goals and assists, goals and assists, goals and assists. But who we never talk about are the players who get it 90% of the way down the field. You know, it takes a whole team to move the disc down the field or up the field, if you will. We've had lots of things done by all players on both teams. But certainly that last 10% for Toro, Betty and Shen.
And for Mischief, it's been Peary, number 6, really working in the deep space, doing a great job. And we saw that one time they were trying to hit Peary, and unfortunately the throw went too far, but the cutter defenders really fronting and under Peary, and I think that might have to change, especially when Mischief is going downwind.
Loud sideline from Mischief right now, starting a chant. A little dancing down on their line happening right now. I know our viewers can't see that, but Mischief looking like they're in good spirits right now.
For Toro, they're getting turns on this right to left side. This upwind break just been very difficult for either team, only one so far, and they get this pull past midfield.
They're generating the turns, but then they're having problem completing passes upfield right now. Most passes getting popped up in the air and allowing Mischief to get underneath them.
Thought Lee was going to throw the huck, instead going to find Peary underneath, who bonks the clap catch. Good effort, but just in and out of the hands. This is a good field position for Toro. Can they take advantage? Yoshida working it up over to Kane. Kane has 5 assists in this tournament already, trying to make it another one. To Chen, as they are having some movement here, Clay, for Toro.
Yeah, I like seeing the movement. A little static right now as those first crits aren't there. But off the back of the stack, they find a way to get that off at a high stall count.
Bala, center handler, was told a player to watch. Big throws for this team, and players bumping into each other and falling down. Never want to see that, as both coaches, Seaborn and Young, checking out what's happening.
No, both players looking at the disc and just changing direction a little bit, and you hate to see that. I don't think any recklessness in there, Theo. It just seems like an accident. So we're going to take a break, Theo, and we'll be back once this is sorted out.
Both players going off the field here. Saw a little collision happening as Mischief and Toro really vying and trying to win this game, of course. Winner going to semifinals. Going to take on the winner of Helios and Eclipse on this same side of the bracket. Liu picking up for Mischief. Going deep right away. Good effort, but it's going to be ruled out of bounds, and observer Alan Baggish actually going to point to where the throw is going to come in, or the disc is going to come in here.
Yeah, I don't
and
know
I'm
if
not sure if
Bala sees that.
Yeah, I don't know if Bala recognizes this.
She doesn't. Too late now.
Would have been a huge advantage for Toro, and if I'm one of the coaches for Toro, I'm a little bit, I don't know if agitated is the right word, but you know you want that good field position.
Yeah, that's just an example of, you know, juniors ultimate getting that experience of understanding maybe I should take a look at observer, see if they signaled it out earlier. Just unawares of that.
Bala keeping things alive, checking on her teammate as well before continuing play. Great spirit from Bala. Been saying her name along the handler space, looking for a target, but that throw sails into the front cone. Trying to find Filippetti. Liu and Bala, two big handlers for their respective squads, and with the throws might come a few turnovers as you're doing a lot of the heavy lifting. Big throw for Peary. This is going to hang. Peary's tracking it, but great box out defense from the Toronto side.
Yeah, and getting that box out cleanly, not having to grab, shove, or push, just posting up where On can jump at her apex to make that play.
Trying to reel that in, but just in and out of the hands of Kane.
Guan has had a big game so far, picking up.
Peary fake it deep, and they're really respecting that. She's going to get a lot of free unders. Going deep on her own. Great shot. We hear a parent saying catch it. And they do just that. A little spike action at the end for Kang.
So Kang, after making a really athletic play earlier, catching the disc, but it was out of bounds. She caught it on the dashed line, and great layout catch. Gets a second shot with that disc staying in bounds. So a great grab, giving the hole to Mischief. Theo, I'm feeling like Toro's going to want that one back, as the lack of recognition after our injury call when that huck went out of bounds practically at the cone, and players not having the experience yet to look at the observers and see where they signal the out. So Toro could have been in an excellent scoring position upwind, but just an unfortunate occurrence for them, and Mischief pulls off the hold to keep that 2-point lead.
You mentioned it earlier, it's learning. If these were Masters players, Clay, like ourselves, I would be a little bit harder on it, I think. I would say, you know better. But for these junior athletes, a lot of them, their first CUC, we've been told, especially on the Toro side. So we know that it's part of the growing. I don't want to say growing pains. I'll say growing, because this is going to be the next generation. We've seen a lot of Toro alumni come through and represent Team Canada. You may have heard of someone named Brittany Dos Santos tearing up for the World Games team, having played for this Toro squad. So that's just an example.
Pole's going to roll, putting Toro in a good position right now, but Mischief coming down in that tight zone that we've seen several times. A big block by He, and it's going to go right back to her.
He trying to go for the bookends, gets it short of the end zone, and he calls the timeout, getting the hand block. That was huge, Clay.
Yeah, oh, huge, and then to get it right back. Smart to call the timeout, as he recognized immediately that she had no support around her. Not that her players weren't trying to get there, but sometimes that fast break offense, suddenly you find yourself in the deep while everybody's trying to catch up, and that stall count can just get racked up. So calling that timeout, I did see when the timeout was called that observer Alan Baggish signaling that the stalls will be coming in at 2, so still lots of time with the disc. So great call by Zihi.
What do you want to see from this Mischief side? We're going to stay on for this timeout here, Clay. So what do you want to see from this Mischief side in terms of their end zone set? And then conversely from Toro on defense.
Thank you for asking that, because Theo, on this field today, in what we've been calling the hard side of the field in this end zone, from most teams today, we've seen tons of rescuing. Everybody is cutting at the same time, all trying to be the option for that player with the disc, and it's resulted in tons of traffic in front of the thrower. Z he is going to be far closer to this sideline, so I imagine the force will be pushing her towards us. So if Mischief can do disciplined single cuts here and then look for a reset early, then it will be far easier for Mischief to punch this in. Too much traffic is going to result in a turnover.
We see a poach in the lane from Toro as well, Clay. So that's their defense. They want to set up. Going to go with the backhand around to Peary. Peary has crossed over here, going right to left on your screen. Big time player. Going to go both ways. You know, this is both teams going to go tight lines. We talked to respective coaches, and they said they got to throw it all out there if they want to make semifinals. This is their last game of the day.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we love these rounds because the dynamic changes. It's not about saying it's early in the tournament. You can try out different looks. Now it's win or go consolation, as we have been saying. So
going for fifth instead of going for gold. That's a big difference. Teams want it.
So observer ruling, there is a pick. And the disc is going to go back, as the receiver for Mischief was indeed the player that the pick was on. Now it's a matter of working out the stall count. Looks like 1.
Peary going to have it. About 5 yards away from the end zone. Hearing Hazel calls. Peary finding a teammate now, going up line. Throwing to a lot of traffic. Betty heads up play. Cannot walk it up any further after setting a pivot. And we're hearing that discussion, and that's part of that learning we talked about. Betty's going to put up a flick. Good track down by Hunter. This one's going to hang. Good run there from Filippetti.
We saw Mischief's end zone there. I didn't like it, Theo. They had the disc a yard outside, and then suddenly 3 cutters available all at once. So difficult as a thrower to make something happen with that. We see a zone D now after that huck is not brought in. We see a zone D from Toro, looking to stop mainly the upfield throws right now.
Big rip coming for Peary, and catches it under some pressure. And players starting to move when he had a lot of steps on the defenders, and play just seemingly continuing, but he did have steps. If players did acknowledge that, this throw going to pop up. He was there, batted down, and almost a second effort there.
Yeah,
McGee
we've seen
made the block.
Excuse me, Theo, but we've seen a few times on our VC Showcase field in this championship series in both senior and juniors, passes being knocked into the air and then caught. So you want to catch your T's.
Betty's going to go backhand again. Good effort from Filippetti, but you got to get out of the area of your end zone. That's a very scary place to be going downwind and giving up another upwind break. So I do like the look from Betty, who's been what it looks like given the green light. We saw that earlier with some players on Mischief, and seeing it here.
Yeah, not a lot of under options for Mischief right now.
Yen's going to blow a tire. I'm not sure if there's going to be a foul called.
Yen looks like they're signaling that their foot was stepped on. So there is a foul call.
We've seen some people slip on the field. We've seen that. We've seen some slip because of fouls, and we've seen some just slip on their own. So as we continue to watch, we have to determine which one that is.
That's right.
Is it self-inflicted or Turf Monster got you?
The old turf monster. You always got to blame it on someone. I've never tripped, but that turf monster,
it's out there.
It's out there. But I know I'm too clean with my feet on the field to fall down, Theo. So there's a contested call. I saw the hand on the top of the head signal from observer indicating a contested stall down. So the stall count right now will come in at 8. Tapping it in saying stalling 8.
Not a lot of time. Betty has poached in the lane, so see if Ho can get a reset. Does. And Betty setting the mark right away. They set a zone on that first possession, but having to transition, go into person. This is going to be a high stall throw that's knocked down by a layout block from Toro.
Wow, what a layout block. Clutch right now when you need to get this downwind hold. Hunter putting it all out there.
Shimoda going deep, looking for Hunter, who bumps Yen a bit, but no harm, no foul.
Great positioning by Yen and watching the play develop, knowing exactly where to go to break up that huck.
If Mischief can push this in, they would have a chance to then go defense downwind. They're starting on offense in the second half, so advantage right now on the Vancouver side. He going deep, Wynn really picking up as that throw came off, and Hunter will just scoop it up as he tried to dive for it. Shimoda on this far side, going around, throw was tipped, but then caught again. Hunter been all over the field this point. Now throwing up a big one that settles into the turf.
Well, it looks like Hunter's gonna have to make some more layout block or catching action. Given time here, but Toro's gonna, okay, we see a poach in the lane, another player coming down into the cup, so they do stick with the zone. That throw turfed.
See who decides to pick it up. Is it gonna be Betty? It's gonna be Shimoda. Excuse me, it's actually Betty now, and Betty kind of telling the stack where to go.
Yeah, Betty doesn't want them too close to the front or there's gonna be too much traffic.
Disc tapped in. See if she can go for a break. It's gonna be a high stall, needs a reset right now. Flipping the backhand over. Finds Cyan Huang, the captain, and Toro gets the hold after a few turnovers apiece from either side. 3 assists for Betty.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Betty a lot, showing lots of confidence with her hucks, a lot of confidence in front of the end zone, picking that disc up and telling the stack exactly where to go and not seeming frazzled getting to a high stall count there.
Toro has been less frazzled after giving up those 2 breaks. They've been holding out since. So they've started to bring it in, but if they want to win, they're going to have to eventually frazzle this Mischief side by doing something different, going upwind. They had that close opportunity, Clay. They did have it, but unfortunately not recognizing where it should go.
No, I think that it's happening less, so maybe there's been a discussion, but Toro was making lots of big upwind throws earlier. And while you want to establish to Mischief that you're willing to throw big going into the wind, you also have to establish to them that you can execute those choices. I think Mischief has noticed that Toro's deep game going upwind is just not there in this game right now, or at the very least they haven't shown that they're going to be successful that way. So Toro just needing to execute or change up the attack they have in the short field. Run a dominator perhaps and do some give goes with your handlers, or try doing a horizontal and get a lot more movement closer to the disc.
Liu centering it over. Little side stack with the isolation cut. Going deep was Kang. Kang's caught a goal in this game for this Mischief side, but unable to reel that catch in. Saying my bad potentially, but there was a lot of coverage from Pearson.
Pearson got her hand out in front of there, and I felt like I saw Ken get a little bit distracted by that.
Bala looking reset and has a cutter coming underneath. High stall going around. Just out of the outstretched arms of Guan, who's playing some strong defense. And Toro really running through their catches, making some plays, not letting the disc come to them, and that is a testament to their coaching here.
And There's a deep shot by Toro. We need to see those big gainers. They're also continuing way better. They're keeping the vertical, but what I'm seeing right now is some way quicker movement. That throw, though, just popped up a little too high. That is what has been haunting them upwind.
Player tying their shoe, and Liu, this is actually not a call, folks, so Liu could technically play the disc, but good spirit nonetheless. Liu going with the flick and caught and going to be put back in bounds by Pearson. Pearson looking off Bala right now, needs a cut. Finds it on the open side. No foul there.
No foul. That throw was behind, and both players had to slow up. Looks like Mischief recognizing that the momentum there was not the fault of the defenders. The throw was quite behind.
Players looking a bit tired on the field. You expect that. It's the second day, last game of the second day of this tournament. It's a 3-day affair here. And just a little bit too low. Bala going right away. And if that throw just had a little bit more float, I think that's a goal.
That's right. I mean, we've seen the upwind just going for it right away. These throws, the execution is just so hard to make right now.
Pio Quinto, the intended target. But that throw, if it floats, I think Pio Quinto reels that one in.
Absolutely. It was the choice was good. The execution being the problem upwind. That's the story of this game for Toro so far.
Kang with a great job of using the fake to bring her cutter underneath. Unfortunately, Fish not able to get that, but the disc pump fake saying, come underneath, I got you there.
Love to see that communication.
Things going back and forth here. A shot right away. And trying to reach out for it was Eklund, but now Toro has to work it all the way up.
Theo, I've said it. If you're going to huck downwind, the wind is going to help you with your distance, so take that extra second if you intend to throw it hard or put way more love. But just so many lasers right off the bat today on the fast break defense has resulted in that particular turnover over and over.
Bala going with the backhand. Great catch under pressure from Pearson. Kang was there defending Pearson, but she made the grab. Bala got to go every other at this point. Really confident with the disc going upwind. Even being able to throw some longer ones with her patented backhand right now.
No bail in position for Bala, but she finds a way to make it work. She'll uncork it.
Trying to go a little bit to the right, or the throw was going to the right. Craig thought about calling a foul, but it's going to be no foul called.
Well, I felt that was actually an offensive foul. You thinking about calling it, but there was a turnover as Craig did stick out a hand and kind of push off.
They're trying to isolate that deep cutter. Just in and out of the right hand of Eklund. Has 4 goals in this tournament. Zippy throw from Bala. Gets things moving. Just at midfield for Toro. Number 1 on this white side, really directing traffic, putting this backhand out. Second effort there for Toro. Can they get this break? They do just that. What a point. Pearson was all over the field for this Toro side. Pio Quinto throws the assist and the spike as they get the break.
Toro, that point, Bala got left alone a lot in the backfield, but it was Natalie Merrill who kept coming out of the stack underneath, really bailing Bala out. Timeout taken by Mischief.
Justin Podner, one of the coaches, talking with the group here. It's actually Merrill you mentioned. I believe Merrill caught the goal as well. Want to confirm that, but either way, Toro ties things up, and we'll be right back. critical point here in this first half, folks. Toro just getting the break, trying to break again for half, going downwind. Theo on here with Clayton Howlett. This is the women's quarterfinal in the 2022 Canadian Ultimate Championships, the juniors, taking place here Monday to Wednesday. We were just told this is the halftime cap, so the first to 7 will be one of these teams. Will take half.
Yep.
Mischief will be starting on offense in the second half.
Format at these tournaments that there is a timed half after 55 minutes, so we won't be taking half at 8, but rather at 7. We're seeing a zone look here. Kind of a poach in the lanes and hard person defense, resulting in not a lot of options and some impatience by Mischief. So Toro with the chance to break to take half.
Guan trying to make that throw, and it's the same offensive line for this Mischief side, so they're going to go right to left, whereas Toro keeping their upwind, downwind lines. Betty is out there, Shimoda. Betty clearing out. And that throw's going to sail over McGee's head. And they're going to go right away with Liu. Couple players there. That's going to be Kang having options. Kang directing some traffic here as their vertical stack trying to set. Finds an open receiver who then continues it for the score. Casella finding Eklund.
So a big upwind hold by Mischief. It seemed Toro was a little confused of who was on who, as Kang sort of had no one around her when she made that catch, and then after getting to a high stall count, she was able to find just a 3-yard pass directly in front of the end zone to another Mischief player with no check. And Theo, Mischief started the game breaking upwind. So now, a big point for Mischief, as having just scored that point, they get to be on offense again, starting on the end that they're currently on, moving left to right, having the wind with them. So, big advantage for Mischief right now, hoping to get that organic break going downwind next half.
Toro going to have to do some tough sliding. They did show that they can get a break up win, so they're going to have to do it once again. And we're going to find out they do so as we get the conclusion of the second half in a couple minutes. Second half action coming at you. There was an offside call. Toro in white pulling to Mischief in dark. See that it's going to be played on here. Theo Wan, Clayton Howlett in the booth. Ben Hubner producing for us. Liu has a receiver going deep. That's Peary. Lots of float for 6 to run onto it. Tries to clap it into the end zone, and just a drop from Peary. That's tough.
Theo, the case of multitasking in ultimate, always proving to be difficult, trying to keep the feet in, but got to make the catch first.
It's proved difficult in real life as well, as many people who try to multitask can attest to, as a big block comes down from Casilla, excuse me. Liu directing traffic. Going up the line is Guan. But the edge not really there for Liu.
Yeah, we've seen that sideline giving problems to teams, the disc being forced out of bounds quite often thanks to the wind.
A hand block with an emphatic rejection by Peary. Looking back at Balla to see if there was a foul call. None coming.
Good redemption for Peary there after bobbling that go-ahead goal.
I expect Liu to go up line. The body language just tells me she's going to go up line trying to burn a defender. Instead, it's a cutter coming from the back of the stack. Juliana Tan getting the goal.
So that organic break I talked about, Theo, as Mischief had scored to take half, then they got it right back on offense thanks to the Mir moving downwind and then able to get another goal, regaining that 2-point lead that they had lost just before half. Just looking behind us right now, Theo, it looks like Eclipse beat Helios. And Eclipse will be moving on. Could you say that the sun was eclipsed, Theo?
I know, Clay, you're going to use all the puns you can. We're going to try to keep it not so punny for everyone, because I know some people are going to roll their eyes when they hear it. But Eclipse looking very good, Clay. That's all I'm going to say in both divisions. Will it be an Eclipse sweep? That's what we're going to have to figure out as we get forward in this tournament.
Well, I'm the guy from BC here, so that has to be my homer call.
The team from Toronto trying to fight back here in white. See assistant coach Sarah Lamb walking off the field in addition to this coaching staff this year. Love to see players like that giving back. Sarah Lamb having won a mixed division title with Toronto Union just a few days ago.
Seeing a zone, he on the mark. Tight zone from Mischief today has been really working for them.
Betty catching the disc and not even looking upfield, trying to go reset, throws it right into the mark of He. And this could be dangerous right now for Toro if Mischief can get the break.
He, I think with the forehead D, gets it underneath and puts it out to Yen.
Yen! Oh, so close. They were running, but got to leave the feet potentially to try to make that play. But they're going to set their zone look up once again. McGee to pick up this time.
Number 11 from Mischief. Jacoby directing traffic, making sure all the threats are taken away in the deep space.
That throw settles into the turf, and now Toro's really got to dial in their defense, because Mischief could take a 3-point lead here, Clay. So Nagao on this close sideline again, bursting up onto the front court, doesn't get it. Reset handler going up line as well. Inside shot's going to hang up. Knocked away.
Mischief really likes that foot race from the back, but Toro seeming to clue into it that time.
Defense calls coming from the sideline. Mischief sideline been strong all day. And I do love this look as Hunter trying to go deep. And it's taken down. I do like the look, though, as I continue my thought here, Clay, because they have been hucking it freely on this downwind side.
Yeah. Gago able to turn around and make that defensive play, not knowing the disc was up right away, but her throw not far enough for Yen, will hit the ground.
Hunter thought about the big flick huck, gonna go to Betty instead, middle of the field. See if Toro can, after they get the huck and the mark doesn't set, Big crash there from Yen. Couldn't stop their momentum. McGee gonna get up. Believe play's gonna continue.
Now, that being a foul on Yen, Yen's got to be next to the thrower to tap that in. So I think that's the discussion right now. If you do cause a foul, you need to put the disc live back where it is. But doesn't matter. Play continues.
Blade shot and casual catch from Hunter, who tosses up this flick. Looking for who else but Shen, who's been all over the scoreboard for this Toronto side. And as you mentioned, that Eclipse Helios game ending, so the Eclipse women cheering on their sister squad coming on to the field, or the sidelines, I should say. Trying to give them some extra confidence. Dangerous times here for Mischief on this defensive point.
The wind particularly gusty right now.
And this zone look by Toro trying to cause some havoc. And Toro another opportunity. McGee finds Betty, who is free. Not sure if there's going to be a pick call or perhaps a foul on the throw by Mischief.
Like most, before Betty received that, looked like most players had stopped moving. So I do think there was a call. Hard to hear right now, Theo. We have some clouds rolling in, some tents trying to leave the building. But we always got Team Orange out there doing a lot of heavy lifting this tournament. They've been so helpful. I'm just loving it. That disc is going to go back.
Alan Baggish, the observer, discussing things, and there's just over 13 minutes in this contest left. Toro gonna have to keep things close and not give up that 3-goal deficit. See if they can get this hold and eventually get the break. That's their goal right now. That throw edging out them further away from where they want to go. This throw popping up, but some good focus. Keep things going now, just outside of their end zone.
So Toro looks a little confused with who should be on the mark, of whether they're still in zone or person matched defense, as throwers are being left alone.
See, he on this far side, throwing off the brace, and believe Yen was blocked, but there's a foul call. Hunter can't believe it. Throwing up the hands like, what, me, foul? No way. That's Hunter's reaction there, Clay.
Well, I think, Theo, Hunter's reaction was, why did I foul? Because I see the signal from Alan Baggish signaling foul and then turning his hands up, palms facing upwards to indicate no contest. So I find that interesting. Now we're seeing Baggish in his pocket with some talk. I'm curious as to what. It's a blue card presented. That's a team misconduct foul. I don't quite understand the call right now. I'm going to have to do my homework on that one, Theo. It could have been a push-off, which is illegal.
Yeah, it could have been something from the sidelines too, because if they're saying something that they're not supposed to be. He makes the grab, and this could be real devastating right now if they can put it in. Open receiver, but it pops up. Great grab for the score. Lauren Fong. The Eclipse women are celebrating, and a huge momentum shift right now.
What an amazing catch. I love that he waited to throw that, but then her throw getting popped up into the air. So got me nervous, but a massive bring down. Toro calling a timeout as the lead extends to 3. We take a peek at the clock and see that there's 11 minutes left now. So down 3, calling this timeout. 10 minutes, enough time to score 3 points. But that was an upwinder. And scoring upwind, we've seen to be not a struggle, but difficult for Toro today.
The coaches are going to have to dial something up here as they try to make some plans. We got open quarterfinal action coming at you at 4:30, but stay tuned for the rest of the second half. It's going to be an exciting one. Thank you for joining us for the conclusion of this junior women's quarterfinal. Mischief did just get the break. We did see a TMF earlier, Clay, so why don't you explain what happened there for the folks at home?
Contact in the back. We've seen the observers, especially in our last stream, been quite assertive in showing players that they do have to be far more careful when going for perhaps a sky battle or getting a disc in the air, that they still need to be aware of where their check is, as we've seen a lot of forward momentum carrying to the backs of players, which has knocked several back of the heads today, which can be quite dangerous.
A lot of stagnancy right now from Toro. They do get over to this side and gonna find Bala. Bala, see if she can put the team on her back right now with their throws going upwind.
No surprise to see the tight zone from Mischief right now, both to eat up the clock with only about 8 minutes remaining now.
Nagao gets the block and gonna pump it right away for Peary. Not sure if that throw was ever in. We're gonna find out from Sheila Quintos. See if Bala recognizes where this disc is supposed to come in.
I'm also not surprised to see a huck go off right away. You're thinking about wasting the time. This time, Bala recognizing where the disc should come in, seeing the orange pylon put down by observer Quintos.
Bala now on that trap side. Gonna be difficult. Pio Quinto now. Gonna air out this backhand. Will it stay in bounds? And by touching it, Mischief actually gonna be able to take it from where it's from. Don't know if their coaches told them not to touch it, but you want to make sure, right?
I don't think that's so bad. I mean, the disc is basically right at half field. You want guaranteed possession. Oh, and Theo, a timeout call by Mischief. I am going to take it upon myself to be the broken record right now.
Oh no, we know what's coming.
You know what's coming. We've seen these games in hard cap format, that gamesmanship of using those timeouts, which you are 100% entitled to do to eat up the clock, because in these hard cap games, well, in all games, first of all, the clock keeps ticking during timeouts. The time is whittling down. We only have 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So Mischief here, gonna organize a play, likely, a way to get the disc downfield and put the zone on and eat up some clock.
Time ticking away on Toro's championship hopes. We're going to find out if they can make a comeback after this. Mischief having called that timeout, as Clay mentioned, trying to work the clock potentially and also get this point and really then put this game away here. Liu going deep. Peary's in the area. Clap catch. Mixing of lines here for Mischief as we see Yen out there. It's a mix of offensive, defensive players. Low throw. Brought out just outside the end zone. That's Kang. Kang finds Peary, who toes the line, and Mischief takes a 4-goal lead.
Huge celebration from Mischief right now, rightfully so. Getting that big downwind break. Time is almost up. Now, Theo, as we've seen, 90 seconds between pulls. You've got to get a hold, an upwind point, which is a downwind break, if you want to nullify the time right now. So 3 points that you must score before the cap goes on. 1 being a hold, 2 being breaks. Really tall order for any team in this sort of time window. You're shaking your head a little. I think perhaps you're looking at 4 minutes, 30 seconds saying, I don't think you can rifle off 3 points in that amount of time.
If you get 2 first throw turnovers, Callahan's, maybe that could happen, but time just not on your side. I believe Mischief as well has a timeout in the bag. And we see one of the coaching staff, Kristen Guo, the wife of Edward Guo, actually the chaperone for this team. So providing some help in that way through Ultimate Canada's requirements for chaperones. There you go.
Possibly the hardest job.
I think it's harder than coaching. Let's just be honest. Being the chaperone for a bunch of upstart junior athletes, you know, you got the phones to deal with and different things. Lots to, as a teacher, Clay, you would know.
Oh, absolutely. I'd rather be teaching than chaperoning.
You heard it here first. McGee now looking hammer and telegraphing a little bit too much, allowing he to get the block. Want to see maybe a fake before McGee decides to go hammer time.
Yeah. Hammer's hard to block, though.
Ma
Active mark.
shooting it out and almost caught. Yagobi.
So now what could be the nail in the coffin. Mischief looking to get the upwind break. Toro still putting in a ton of effort into their defense. They don't want to go away.
Continue to build those habits. And for Toro, you mentioned the time is ticking away. For this team, they won in 2019, we've talked about, but this is a completely different squad, so can't really take that into account. Betty going deep, looking for Shen, who's been a little bit quieter and can't reel that in. But Shen has had a great game in the first half, putting up 4 goals for this Toronto side. Perhaps we'll see a zone look once again. We've seen it many times now in the second half where they huck downwind and get this going upwind.
Yeah, you are right. We do see that zone look right away. And the last timeout that Mischief has, they call. I mean, Theo, we're seeing that gamesmanship. The players do not have a game clock to look at. Perhaps you don't need to do it with 2 minutes left when you're winning by 4.
They might not even do it knowingly because we have the clock at the booth to say that, but they're going to take a break. This will be our last break most likely for the game, and then you'll see the rest of this half and get ready for open quarterfinal action between Toro and Vortex. A throw from Mischief, perhaps hitting the turf. There'll be some discussion here, but the result all but sealed the fates of these two teams at this tournament. Mischief going to be moving on to the quarterfinals. We'll be taking on Eclipse out of BC.
Semifinals, I believe, Theo.
They're in the quarterfinals right now. Don't know why I said that. They are in the quarterfinals, moving on in the semis, taking on Eclipse.
See, Theo, you've been correcting me most of the day here. So, you know, I'm just going to have to, just to help you out, good partnership we got going up in the booth.
Wear the hat on the other side. I do get that. And this discussion will probably bring us to the horn here. Have yet to hear it, but in the background, it will come out. Like we said before the break, Toro open, going to take on Vortex open. Shimoda with the disc. Unmarked, and that throw's going to hit the turf, and this will be the last point unless there's a score. I think then there'll be one more, correct?
Actually, no, because the game will not be tied after this point. The hard cap rule is you finish the point. You finish the point, and there hasn't been a goal, or at least a goal signaled when the horn went off. So this point will be over even if Toro scores. The final score will be 10-7 now, and that will be the game. The disc does go back, so we don't have to worry about that little loophole that could have been there. But
What if the disc was caught before the horn, though?
If the disc was caught before the horn, a point begins as soon as the score has been signaled. So we would have had one more. But since the horn has gone off and there's been no goal yet, this is the last point of this game.
Good clarification there from Clay. I thought there might have been a catch that would have resulted in that goal and perhaps another point, but not the case here. Smacked away from Jacoby, and these two teams, showing heart right now. Clips women lining up on the sidelines, getting some shade as they await their semifinal opponent. Good fakes from Betty, stepping around for the flick. Good track down from Shen. A little too spicy there.
Yeah, that throw, not exactly behind Betty, but didn't lead her, and the defender with an easy chance.
Couple of players there. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Juliana Tan. Trying to put it out for Jacoby, and just a little too far. A touch more float.
A touch more, and Theo, I've said it several times, just wait. You're all by yourselves out there. Just take an extra breath so you can put the best execution on that you can. Zone look for Mischief here.
Here in the Eclipse women's side chanting defense. That's not the Mischief silent. That's actually the Eclipse women right now. Shimoda, good track down, 22. Been solid for the handlers and this Toronto group. Inside shot for Betty. Not going to be there. And Mischief, they want to punch it in and get the Eclipse women fired up here.
Yeah, they want to put this away.
Yearn going to go up line. Little move. The throw's going to hang up. But it's going to be caught. And the spike to signify that Mischief is headed to the semifinal. The Eclipse women are pumped up. And so, of course, is the Mischief team. They're going to the semifinal, folks. They finished 7th in 2019 and 6th in 2018. So they'll finish. The worst they could do is 4th. What excitement for this program.
A massive boost for the program. You can see the Eclipse women probably aware of that and celebrating with them, saying we're getting at the very least two BC teams going into semis. So BC guaranteed a medal. That will do it for this game. Up next, we've got an open quarterfinal for you. It'll be Ontario's Toro versus BC's Vortex in the open division. And that'll be at 4:30 Eastern time. So we will see you in 30 minutes. Thanks for joining us.